Well, hello everybody. Welcome back. Oh my goodness gracious. What a hiatus. I was only on for like 3 days maybe, but still. 2-3 days. I've missed this. For any of you that were wondering where I've been working my ass off lately. Because it's getting near the end of the month and I didn't have a whole lot of money. And I was waking up super late and it was just a whole mess. So I had to make sure I had enough money to get through the month and everything, so I just worked a whole bunch. So that's why I haven't been streaming lately. Other than that though, um, I'm in a situation right now where I kind of have to stream because my car is currently at the shop. Don't worry, this was planned. Not like anything broke down or anything, it's just the front bumper of my car is like torn up. So we had to like get it repaired. I will state, if you're wondering what happened, I didn't do it. Okay. Someone wrecked into me in a parking lot. I was like driving next to them and they like slammed into me and like tore off the front of my car. They like turned, like I was to the left of them, they were on the right. They were trying to pull into a parking spot on the left of me as I was next to them. So they turned their car into me and their car like pulled my bumper off. And insurance didn't want to cover it. This was a while ago. This happened. So yeah, that's fun. But we're probably getting it fixed after several months of it being like that. Don't want anything worse happening, so. Did the music disappear? Why is the music not playing? But main thing is that's what happened. That's where the car is. So I'm out of the car, so I can't work right this second. So that's why I'm back. Well, that I want to be back, you know. I intended to keep on working after this. Well, I mean, doing this after we get my car back again. I get back into the flow of things. But for right now, that's what happened. So that's where I've been, and I'm just happy to get back into this. Let's send this out. I have to press the little button here that sends everyone a message. Come on. What, not working? What is happening right now? There it goes. Perfect. Alright. So, as you all probably remember, maybe not, where we left off last was we were doing tutorials. Hello. Good to see y'all again. Let's see. So we were doing this last. We didn't quite finish this, but we're going to tonight. So we turn my music down. I won't turn it off, I'll just turn it down this time. I think that'd be good. So.
Multiples of 8 in order for the text to appear crisp. So you can see if I change this to 9, it becomes blurry again. But we can use 16, 24, 32, and so on.
Watch this part. Give me 1 second. Let me do something really quick. Plot that out. And it opens up the note. Oh my goodness, okay. There we go. Perfect. Back to this.
I'm also going to go to the colors here and change the font color using the color picker. And
I'll just keep it running from here because I
elements around our game to provide story or gameplay tips.
Where it stopped at last time.
Once we're happy, we can categorize all of them under a node. So let's create a node, call it labels, and drag all of them under that. And now when we play, as you can see, they appear as a natural part of our game world. And just like with sprites, because the player character has a greater Z index, it will draw on top. So let's use one of these text elements to display our current score. Score and points. To create a score or coin counter for our game, we need two things: a script that keeps track of our current score and a label to display it.
This is what we stopped on last. We didn't actually do this part. Okay. I gotcha. Let me open up my, oh shit, that's right, there was an update today. GNOME 4.6 just came out. I don't think it changed much, but, I think there was some big, pretty big, what's the word I'm looking for here? Quality of life improvements, that's what it was. Theme, puts viewport center stage, clean lines. The new modern editor. Oh, flexible and floatable. Inverse kinematics is back with a completely new framework. Covers and constraints. Screen space relation got a major overhaul for better visuals and performance. I assume that's all good stuff. I guess we'll find out soon enough. It looks different. I'm not crazy, right? This does look different. Right? I think so. Oh, okay. That's pretty. I kind of like this a bit. Not too bad. Not too bad. Holy cannoli. Alright, Crazer, is that way larger? Hold on, I'm gonna go back to one of my old videos and look at this. Oh, actually, I can look at his video. Yeah, that looks like way wider than originally. I guess the debugger menu isn't open. Let's look at that. Even still, that still looks wider for some reason. Oh, let me... Curious. Am I crazy? I don't know what it is, but that looks like it's significantly more, like, noticeable. Maybe this is, like, gotten small. I don't know. It's not that bad, it's just it looks way bigger and more noticeable now. Let's actually play this now since we last did it. Let's see if we can get the swing of things. I don't really like what I did with this. Where he goes back and forth now. Figure out whether or not there's either a wall or a ledge. Huh. Shit. Go. Ta-da! Yay! That should have been everything. Okay. Alright, back to the video.
It's common practice to place game-wide variables such as a score inside some kind of game manager. So let's make one. We'll hit Ctrl A to add a new node. Let's rename it Game Manager, and I'll place it right at the top here. The reason why we are using a regular node and not a node 2D is because we don't need our game manager to have a transform, in other words, a position, rotation, and scale. Now let's add a script to our game manager. We'll use the empty template, and for the path here, let's put it inside of our scripts folder, and let's also rename it with non-capital letters. Create, and let's create a variable.
I did this empty. Path. This is scripts.
For our current score. So we'll write var for variable, name it score, and default it to 0. Now, so far in our code, we've only used the built-in functions of Godot, and some that we made with signals. In this case here, we want to create our own function that adds a point to our score and displays it. So I'll write func for function, we'll name it add point, open and close some parentheses, and put a colon. Then on a new line, we'll write score plus equals 1 to increase our score by 1, and print our current score. Now, unlike ready, which runs at the start of our game, and our signal functions, which run when a signal gets triggered, this function currently has nothing that calls it. So right now our function is here, but it isn't being run. To change this, we need to go into our coin script and tell it to call this function whenever a coin is picked up. So inside of our coin script, we need a reference to our game manager. But if we just click and drag while holding down Control, we get this really weird looking path. This is because the game manager is higher up in the tree than the coins. And it's generally bad practice to use paths like this that try to access nodes at the same level or higher in the tree. Luckily, because our game manager is a one-of-a-kind and we are sure that there will always be only one game manager, we can solve this by marking it as unique. So let's right-click our game manager and select Access as Unique Name. As you can see, this creates a percentage icon next to the game manager, letting us know that it's a unique node. This makes it much easier and safer to get a reference to the game manager, because now when we drag it in, instead of a $sign with a weird and unpredictable path, we get a percentage sign, which means that Godot quickly finds the node via its unique name instead of using a path. One limitation of this is that you can only access unique nodes from within the same scene. If the game manager and the coins were in different scenes, this wouldn't work. Now in our function, we can replace the print line here with game manager, access our game manager,
hold on a second.
letting us know that it's the game manager or game man that calls it. So right now our function is here, but it's at this. That's a point for letters. Create, and let's create a.
Okay, yeah, this does go here.
It is manager is higher up in the tree than.
Okay, I need to put this in the coin.
It's generally bad practice to use paths like this that try to access nodes at the same level or higher in the tree. Luckily, because our game manager is a one-of-a-kind and we are sure that there will always be only one game manager, we can solve this by marking it as unique. So let's right-click our game manager and select Access as Unique Name. As you can see, this creates a percentage icon next to the game manager, letting us know that it's a unique node. This makes it much easier and safer to get a reference to the game manager, because now when we drag it in, instead of a $sign with a weird and unpredictable path, we get a percentage sign, which means that Godot quickly finds the node via its unique name instead of using a path. One limitation of this is that you can only access unique nodes from within the same scene. If the game manager and the coins were in different scenes, this wouldn't work. Now in our function, we can replace the print line here with game manager, access our game manager, and call the function add point. And now when a body enters our coin, it's going to go to the game manager and run our add point function. And if we play, we can see that every time we pick up a coin, it increases and prints our score in the manager and run our add point function. And if we play, we can see that every time we pick up a coin, it increases and prints our score in the output window. Finally, we can use what we learned about labels in the previous chapter to create one for displaying our coins. I'm gonna make a little place for this in our level.
Good. I was distracted. They got 28 coins in this level, I think. Ooh. Yeah, 28. Got it.
For now, I'll just put in some text that says you collected X amount of coins. I'm also going to change the auto wrap mode to Word. Now we can wrap our text and the horizontal alignment to center. Finally, I'll use a bolder font. Now we can take this label and rename it to something like for displaying our coins. I'm gonna make a little place for this in our level. For now, I'll just put in some text that says you collected X amount of coins. I'm also going to change the auto wrap mode to Word. Now we can wrap our text and the horizontal alignment to center. Finally, I'll use a bolder font.
Theme overrides font. Assets, font. Bam. Okay, actually start this. I want to see, I'll skip all over this coins and stuff, but I should, I want to see, how much I can actually see when I make it up there. Okay, yeah, I can see that fine. I was worried that I didn't have it all in view. It was too high up or what have you.
We can take this label and rename it to something like score label. And since we want to change it from our game manager, let's drag it right under our game manager. Now,
and let me do that one real quick. First of all, you. What are you? 4. And then I duplicate you. Bring it over here. Alright, so word. Horizontal. Center. Yeah, bless me, damn it. Let me do that. I was gonna try and mute, but it just came on too quick. I'm sorry about that. Fuck. No. Go to my screen. There we go. Bless me though. I'm sorry about that. Alright. Yo.
Now in our script, we get a reference by clicking and dragging, holding down Control. And instead of printing our score, we'll go into our score label and access the text property and change it to you collected.
Oh, was it? Dot text equals you collected.
And then here I'm going to add the number, add the score onto that amount of coins. Notice how I make sure to add spaces between the words. And while this looks good, it's actually going to give us an error. And that's because we need to change this score here from a whole number variable called an integer into a text variable called a string. Again, we'll talk much more about variables in our video on GDScript. But for now, we can cast this using str for string and then wrapping it in parentheses. And now when we play and pick up some coins along.
Go. I feel that's what we're gonna do. I'm 28 by the end of the time I hit the end of this. Huh. Hell yeah. That's all I had to see, baby.
On the way here. Once we get to the end, it says, great job, you collected 6 coins. And if I pick up another one, it's going to update to 7. Nice. Awesome. And I don't know about you, this is great and all, but I think it's distinctly lacking a bling sound when we pick up a coin. Bling, bling, bling. Bling. Audio.
Nice.
One of the things that often get overlooked when making a game is audio, but music and sound effects are a huge part of building the mood of your game. This is of course a beginner's tutorial, but let's at least get our feet wet, or should I say our ears wet? Nope, I shouldn't. Let's at least add a music track and a pickup sound for our coins. Now in the assets, I've included a music track as well as a few sounds. And to play these, we need a new type of node, the audio stream player. So let's add a new node, search for audio stream player 2D. Let's rename this to music.
Audio, that is continuative distance to the listener. The screen center. Yeah. Music. I assume I can just drag and drop the music in there.
Then we can take our music track here, Time for Adventure, drag it into the stream slot. We're also going to set it to autoplay, and by default...
Oh. What is playing, man? You played.
This is not going to loop. To change that, let's double click it. This is going to open up our audio importer. Here we can preview our music track. Groovy. Anyways, we can loop. So let's enable loop here and hit re-import. Now by default, all sounds are played fairly loud, and since this is background music, we probably want to turn it down a bit. We can do this by adjusting the volume on each individual AudioStream player, or we can use the audio tab here at the bottom. This is actually a fully functioning audio mixer, and we can add different buses to control our audio.
Oh, damn.
Let's add two, one for our music, as well as one for sound effects. And then we can simply...
Oh, fuck yeah. This is fucking awesome. I didn't even know about this.
Route our music here into our music bus. So now we can control the volume of our music using this slider. I'm just gonna set it to -12. And
oh, yeah. Alright, let me pause my music so I can actually listen to this. Let's try it out. I gotta need to turn that the fuck up. I cannot hear that at all. To be fair, my earbuds are terrible. So I'm gonna need all the help I can get to hear stuff. Let's see. Oh yeah. Shit. It actually restarts it if I die. The scene's resetting every time I die. Oh yeah. Alright. Back to this.
And we have music. Unfortunately, it's going to restart whenever our scene is reloaded. A quick fix for this is to take our music node and make it into a scene. So I'll click and drag it into our scenes folder, hit save, and then we can add this scene as an auto load. Auto loads are global scenes and scripts that we want to persist throughout our entire game.
Ah, gotcha. So that's what I was wondering earlier about health and stuff. I don't know if I mentioned this. One thing I was worried about is health. Like, say you make it through a scene and stuff. I got this, like you were saying. It's like if you take damage in like a level, right? You don't want it to reset to max health once you get to the next level. It depends on what type of game you're trying to make, of course, but yeah. So I didn't know how to go about doing that. And he's gonna teach me now. Hell yeah.
No matter which scene is currently loaded. So let's remove music here from our game scene and instead go to Project, Project Settings, Auto Load. We'll click the little folder here and navigate to our music scene and hit Add. We've now registered our music scene as an auto load, which means that if we now play, now registered our music scene and hit Add.
Oh, there we go.
We've now registered our music scene as an auto load, which means that if we now play, even though our music scene isn't in our game, it automatically loads and starts playing our track. And even better, it doesn't reset when our game restarts. Now to add a pickup sound, we go to our coin and add an audio stream player. Let's rename this to Pick Up Sound, drag in our coin sound, and set the bus here to sound effects.
Okay.
When our game.
Well, I could just test it. Oh yeah, it's playing. I don't even have it in the thing yet. Nice.
Restarts. Now to add a pickup sound, we go to our coin and add an audio stream player. Let's rename this to Pick Up Sound, drag in our coins.
Oh, I want to do this. I already know how to do this. Play. Oh yeah. Pick up. I know. Get node maybe? How's it do it?
And set the bus here to sound effects. And now we can actually play this sound through script. But since we are removing the coin immediately by calling the cue-free function, the sound won't actually get a chance to play. We can of course fix this by adding code that waits until the sound has finished playing, but then we might get weird functionality where we try to pick up the coin multiple times while it's playing, and it will still be visible until the sound is finished. So let me show you a really cool trick to get around tricky timing things like this without writing any code. That is using an animation player. So let's add an animation player. And here we'll create a new
Okay, I'll just get rid of all of this. I didn't even to that. I was thinking that maybe it would play it and then immediately free it, but like it would let the audio still play it, but perhaps not. Okay, this. I need to go here. Change this to SPX.
Pick up animation. Writing any code. That is using an animation player. So let's add an animation player. And here we'll create a new pickup animation. And the first thing that we want to do
no.
do when we pick up the coin is to hide the coin sprite. So I'll go into the animated sprite 2D, and this will change the window. So I'll go back to animation here. And now under visibility, I get to keyframe the visible So I'll go into the animated sprite 2D, and this will change the window. So I'll go back to animation here. And now under visibility, I get to keyframe the visible property. Now when working with animations that don't need to play until later in the game, it's nice to be able to go back to the default values after animating. By default here, our coin should be visible. Now this is pretty cool. If I just create a keyframe here for the default value, Godot is going to ask to create a reset track. If we say yes to this, Godot is automatically going to create another animation track called reset that will simply reset this value to its default state. So now in our pickup animation, we can keyframe it to whatever we want. In our case, when we pick
Which one did he do? Yeah.
just create a key.
Oh, visible, that's right.
Frame here for the default value, Godot is going to ask to create a reset track. If we say yes to this, Godot is automatically going to create another animation track called reset that will simply reset this value to its default state. So now in our pickup animation, we can keyframe it to whatever we want. In our case, when we pick up the coin, we want it not to be visible, so I'll disable that, keyframe it. And then if we want to go back to our default values, we simply go to our reset track, and there it is. It goes back to default. So let's go to our pickup. Let's also modify our collision shape. We don't want to be able to collide with it while it's playing the sound. So let's simply go ahead and add a default key here for the disabled property. Hit create. And now we can set disable to true and add. Add a new key. We can also go into our pickup sound here, and let's add a default key for the playing property.
Hold on a
And
second,
now we
pal.
can set disable to true and add a new key. We can also go into our pickup sound here, And let's add a default key for the playing property. Let's say create. And now since the sound plays pretty quickly, I can actually reach the key in time. So we can go down here instead. I'm just gonna scale this up a bit. Go down here to the value, the keyframe here, and change it to on. So we can actually modify the keyframes here as well. So now we have scale this up a bit. Go down here to the value, the keyframe here, and change it to on. So we can actually modify the keyframes here as well. So now we have our pickup animation, and if we go to reset, we can see that everything goes back to default. So that's just a nice way of working with animation. So now we play the sound, disable the collider, and hide the sprite. After 1 second though, we can go ahead and remove the coin from our scene. So all of these keyframes here are on second 1. Let's put them over to right at the beginning.
All right.
Here are on second 1. Let's put them over to right at the beginning of our...
Can you do control, or is it... No. Just maybe. Right click, no. Middle click, no. I know what I used. Click.
Are on second 1. Let's put them over to right at the beginning of our animation. That's second 0. And then after 1 second here, we want to remove our coin. And this is a really cool part about the animation system, is that we can actually add another track here, a call method track, that is used to calling functions. So on our coin, we want to call a function, and I'll right click right where we want to do that, insert key, and the function that we want to call...
What the fuck is happening? Hold on. How the fuck did he move this? Oh, did he highlight
all
them
of
all?
these keyframes here are on second 1. Let's put them over.
Yeah, he highlighted. I didn't see that part. Okay. There we go.
To right at the beginning of our animation at second 0. And then after 1 second here, we want to remove our coin. And this is a really cool part about the animation system, is that we can actually add another track here, a call method track, that is used to calling functions. So on our coin, we want to call a function.
That's cool.
And I'll write functions. So on our coin, we want to call a function, and I'll right click right where we want to do that, insert key, and the function that we want to call is the queue-free method. To do that, insert key.
Why is that loud? What the fuck is happening? Hello? There we go.
And the function that we want to call is the queue-free method, which is right here. And so now, after 1 second, it's going to call the queue-free method on our coin without us writing any code. And voila, all the things we could have done through code are all inside this animation. And again, to get back, we simply choose reset. Now all that is left is playing the animation through script. So in our script, we'll get a reference to our animation player. And then instead of directly calling queue-free, we'll go animation player.play pickup.
Animation player.play, that's what it was. What's it good for? Let's try it out. Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah. This is fucking awesome. No! Shit. Sick. That was great. I love that.
And if we play now, we can hear our music, and we can hear our pickup sound when we run into the coins. Awesome. Export! Finally, we are ready to export. Really incredible that you made it this far. You can feel very proud. So let's get our game out of Godot so we can share it with others.
Look at those
Godot
muscles.
can of course
That's how proud I
export to
am.
many different platforms, but I'm on a Windows computer. This far, you can feel very proud. So let's get our game out of Godot so we can share it with others. Godot can of course export to many different platforms, but I'm on a Windows computer here, so let's go ahead and make a quick Windows build. The first time we are exporting our game, we need to download the export templates. These are a little large, so to keep Godot lightweight, they aren't included by default. To install them, we go to Editor, Manage Export Templates.
Okay. I think I filled around this before, but I don't think it was this. Manage export templates.
And hit download and install.
Offline? Why am I in offline mode? What? I'm still streaming, right? Yeah. What? Go online? What the fuck was that about? Ooh, jeez, it's a 1.16 gigabytes. Holy fuck.
Install. And the export templates are installed and ready to
Hey,
be
yours
used.
was
So
smaller
we'll
than
close,
mine.
go to Project and Export. In the
Alright. Not gonna take long. Shouldn't take long. I have fucking gigabyte internet. I don't know why it's taking so long as it is. Export templates are installed and ready to be used. Why are you saying it's only at 21% then? I guess we wait here until it's done. Oh man. Itchy noggin. Go ahead and set okay. Let's see. Project. No, it was editor. Manage export templates. What the fuck? What do you mean there are no mirrors available? And now you're doing it again. What the fuck are you doing? Good Lord. This application's all over the damn place for some reason. I don't know what's happening. What? What the hell is happening? Hold on, let me look at something. Let me check something. Cancel. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, that's not good. Oh yeah, that's not good. Uh, well, guess we wait here till it does what it needs to do. Perhaps, maybe, possibly. Uh, oh, there it goes. Did it do what it needed to do? I can't click on anything. What is happening? Oh, not gonna touch anything. Oh, I went back to 21% at least. Yay! I think we did it. I just, wish I could actually click on something. Pause. Magic. Let me go back to the video.
This window will add a build platform, so let's go add Windows Desktop.
I don't know why it does that.
Embed PCK, which will
Okay, look, that's not my, that is, whenever my lights do that, if you ever see that happening, that isn't my lights glowing, it just does that after a while of being on. I don't know why it does that. I don't know what the fuck's happening. Well, look, if I go over here, ow, that hurt a shit ton. Earbuds get inked in my fucking ears. Okay, hold on, if I go over here, there, if I shut it off and back on, and off and back on again, it just fixes. I don't know why it does that. I don't know how to stop it from doing that. It just happens. Oh, I'm plugging my back in. There we go. Goodness gracious.
file. Then we scroll down.
Yeah, let me
Port. And ready to, and hit download and install. And the export templates are installed and ready to be used, so we'll close, go to project and export.
Project and export. Got it. No presets found. Awesome.
In this window, we'll add a build platform, so let's go add Windows Desktop. We'll enable embed PCK, which will export it into a single file. Then
embed PCK.
We scroll down. As for the product name here, I'm going to type in Princess Dragon Slayer.
Test. Yeah, fuck it.
And we can hit export project. I'm simply going to put this on my desktop, uncheck export with debug and hit save. This
there was
to put Dragon Slayer, and we can hit export project. I'm simply going to put this on my desktop, uncheck export with debug and hit save. This warning is not a problem, we'll hit OK. And now on the desktop, we have this first game.exe. We can open that up and voila.
I can't find my desktop. Hold on. Where the hell did he go to find his desktop?
Desktop, we have and hit save. I'm simply going to put this on my desktop.
You did it on the user thing. Is that not opening? Hold on. Why can I not save this to my desktop? I'm going through my files right now, so I don't want to show anything I don't want to. That's the reason. Can't see anything right now. I generally can't find a desktop folder. What the fuck? Okay, in that case, I guess I'll go to my F drive and then put it in my Godot games folder, I guess. Oh, yes, game. Okay, let's try this again because it's telling me all that stuff is invalid. For project. Test. Game. Okay, so now if I open this up, go to F drive, games, and there she blows. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Nice. Well, I'm done. What? Sick. I was wondering how you did this. And it told me right there. Very nice. Very nice.
Uncheck export with debug and hit save. This warning is not a problem, we'll hit OK. And now on the desktop, we have this first game.exe. We can open that up and voila. We
Hell
made a
yeah.
game.
That's looking awesome. Very nice, very nice.
Woohoo! And that's it. Congratulations on making your first dish, or I mean, game in Godot. If you don't understand everything or are unsure about where to go from here, don't worry. That's totally normal. It takes a little while to become familiar enough with the tools to feel really free with them. Never hesitate to use the documentation, tutorials, or code examples you find online. When I started out, I spent a lot of time remixing other people's scripts before I started to write my own. Now, where do you go from here? Well, that's totally up to you, but if you want to continue adding to this game, here's a list of things that you can try out. Expand the level. See how far you can get using just what you know now. I think you'd be surprised with how much fun gameplay you can get out of just these simple elements. Add effects, like an animation or particles when picking up a coin, or more sound and music. Add more danger elements like spikes or traps that turn on and off. Most of these are just variations on the kill zone we've already made. Add a main menu, more enemies, give the player a weapon or add power-ups. You can also expand on the game manager, for example to use it to switch scenes. A common way to do this is by turning it into an auto load just like we did with our music track. Or perhaps you want to improve player movement by adding coyote time and double jumps. The possibilities are endless. Also, don't forget to check out Zenva Academy. Be among the first 50 people to use the coupon code below to get 20% off the first year of your Zenva subscription. And that's it for making your first game in Godot, and I wish you the best of luck on making your second one. GDScript, a high-level, object-oriented, imperative and gradually typed programming language with syntax a lot like Python built specifically for Godot.
Hold on, I'm gonna go back to this. I want to listen to this again.
Woohoo! And that's it. Congratulations on making your first dish, or I mean, from here, don't worry. That's totally normal. It takes a little while to become familiar enough with the tools to feel really free with them. Never hesitate to use the documentation, tutorials, or code examples you find online. When I started out, I spent a lot of time remixing other people's scripts before I started to write my own. Now, where do you go from here? Well, that's totally up to you, but if you want to continue adding to this game, here's a list of things that you can try out. Expand the level. See how far you can get using just what you know now. I think you'd be surprised with how much fun gameplay you can get out of just these simple elements.
I remember what I was thinking of.
Effects.
I was thinking fucking oh, I need to look this up. I need to find the actual thing I'm looking for. Give me 1 second. Okay, we got it. Think about like make it to where every time people coin the sound plays. That's stupid. Never mind. Yeah, it's just a dumb joke. Back to this. Let's go. Fucking guy. Swear. I'll find nodes. Okay. Yeah, correct. But first, I want to actually check something before we get started on this. I want to look at this video to see what else he has posted since then. 3D games. I'd like to check this one out. Uh, Fighting tutorial, game jam. VFX. Making him in good. Oh, that's an interesting one. And then a game jam video. How often does he upload? Year. 11 months, 7 months, 3 months, 8. Hey, 8 days ago, actually. Oh, damn. I didn't even realize that when we did this last. So my assumption is, about once every 3 months or so. So that's not too bad. I mean, it puts a lot of work into these, so. We're gonna C sharp. He did it there. I don't know if he like gave up on it or that was actually the last episode before he quit doing it and had that 4-year hiatus. I remember this was because of the whole if I remember correctly, this is because of the whole Unity situation that happened. That was really stupid. They made that was oh that was the dumbest thing they could have done. The whole runtime fee thing. Like that was God. How would you not think that was gonna backfire in any way, shape, or form? Uh but anyways, let me actually look at this real quick. Oh, I know this is all Unity stuff, but I'm curious like what his stuff was a while back. Seems to be more specific things like health bars, boss, sort of boss at least. Um, Shader graphics, FPS. This would be like generalized stuff like top-down shooting, controller inputs, ragdoll physics, stuff like that. So, that's an interesting thing, whatever that Pro Builder thing is. That looks like that could be cool. I'm not using Unity, but you know, if anyone is, then that might be something interesting to look at. I know I'd probably look at that if I were doing it. But anyways, back to this. No, and fine. Use his link, I guess, if you must. Seems interesting enough. Don't know if it's good or not, but you know, support the guy if you want to. I'll let it be. I'll let it play. I'm a good reactor. I'm a good react Andy. I'll let it. I'll let it play. Let's go ahead and quit the project. Let's so to start something new to work on. Um, Brackets for the brackies. Uh, Eject. There we go. And there we go. Anti-scene. And then we're gonna add a new node. There you go. Yeah. What do you? Yeah. It was alt, by the way. Like, uh, okay. Nice. Very nice. Cancel. Go. To red. Very nice. Very nice. They got quite the selection here. What was that? Transparent. What does this do? Yeah, I assumed as much, but I was thinking maybe it'd do some weird effect on the background. I wasn't sure. Medium blue, let's go. Very nice. Very shiny in the eyes. That's what I like to see. Project settings, map, text, change, add, base. Okay. I'll do my actions as he said we're gonna reuse it later on. Whoa, okay. Well, what the fuck is happening? I actually could do something a little different here. Modulate. Go. And if that dot is action released. There we go. So what happens now? Starts out blue, green, red, green, red. Sorry, season warning. Merry Christmas. Sorry. Okay. Anyways, so it starts to blue, but once it's pressed, it converts to green. Once it's released, it's red. Press, red, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, 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 red. Okay, you get the point. You get the idea. I bet not just blue, medium blue. Hey, the exact same thing I did. Fuck yeah. Oh, yeah. Is 0. No, fuck it. He dies. I need to do that. What the fuck? Oh, that's why. It set my health to 0 immediately. What? Uh, wait, I'm trying to think. Uh, I mean, it's right, but then it just does this. I know how to fix it, but I'm being nitpicky. It's a stupid joke. I love it. Hmm. Oh, hold on a second. What? Okay, yeah, it was already declared with the VAR. I was wondering why you didn't use a VAR again. That's why. Got it. Is there a thing that causes it to where it'll round up or down? I mean, I can see you writing a function that does that, but is there anything built in that does that? Is the question I have. Let's see. He may go over it, he may not. Well, look at that error. Cannot assign a value of type string as in. Gotcha. Goodness. Oh yeah. The thing I hate about that is I made the same joke too. Uh, so funny. Oh, I like this guy. He likes to have fun. I don't know why. I never subscribed to this guy. Hell, I'll even do the notification thing too. Think of it. They really like this stuff. This part's always kind of confused me a bit. A little bit. Hold on. Here. Who's between 0 and 1? You guys look is amazing. There you go. Hell yeah. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I want to do this. I know how to calculate this out. Um, 0.8 to how do I? Oh my gosh, that is so bright. Hold on. Settings. There we go. Good freaking lord. I don't know why it was a light thing to begin with. Uh, Standard scientific. Yeah. 0.8 to the power of 18. So that was 18 attempts. That was a fucking hell, dude. That was a 1.8% chance that he got it that bad. God's sake. That's generally how you do those calculations, relatively speaking. I believe. Could be a little off, but I think so, something like that. Hell yeah. And error. Perfect timing. Which should be 0, I believe. So if we were to do print item 0, and then that should be print potion. Hell yeah. Got that right. This part is always confusing me. Hold on, let me go back to this. I leave this one more time. Um, so it cycles through it until it's done, then it moves out of the bomb. Uh, the line below it. So it keeps doing its thing until it can't anymore, and then it moves on. Got it. Keeps itself until it stops to loop itself. Jesus Christ. Look at this. Glass is um why did it print? Oh, it didn't print out the number, so it probably went over the number and then broke. Got it, I think, maybe. I just didn't print out what it was. Huh. Yeah, I'm about to say. Very nice, very nice. Huh. Oh, let me look over it again. Uh, the axe kind of like an array, but not really. The whole other beast. I'm getting it now. I'm getting it now. Oh, sick. This is really cool. Okay, sick. All right. Well, damn. I actually taught me some stuff I didn't know about. I didn't know about, and only barely knew about dictionaries. So that's fucking fantastic. All right. Well, yeah. I'll uh I'll pick this up again tomorrow and everything, and we can work more of that. We did some great progress today. I'm really happy about that. I like this because I could just listen to it and I didn't have to go through and do things manually. I mean, I did some stuff just to test it out, but I'd like to experiment some more when it comes to enums and dictionaries, just to so I can get a better grasp on them and stuff. So, yeah. Alrighty then. Well, I'll leave it here this way tonight, and tomorrow we'll continue on. I may rewind it a little bit tomorrow just so I can get a quick refresher on how UW's work and everything. But other than that, yeah. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Check out his sponsored stuff if you're interested in all of that. And yeah, check out Bracky's. He's fantastic. I may skip over these for a little bit until I get some more specific stuff in, like understood, like UI stuff, you know. Because this is gonna be working with some weird stuff. I don't think this is necessarily an order. I may have to swap around the order of things. But overall, yeah, this has been fantastic so far. Tomorrow, continue on. You know how it is. I told you how it is. And yeah, oh, he has a playlist. Oh no, it was just for this. Never mind. we watched that one. We won't rewatch it. But yeah, I'll need to rewatch some of these in my own time, try and get some refreshers and everything. But other than that, I'll see you all again tomorrow. So yeah. Good night, everybody. Bye. Bye-bye.